All right, guys, how we doing? So I hope you guys are doing awesome. There has been a lot of good things going on in this group, which I'm loving. A lot of good input from a lot of different people, and I know that some of you guys are just crushing it. So, way to go! Free right now, right? So, awesome job on everything you guys have accomplished so far. So today I want to get into what is energy balance, right? So how do you lose fat? Like, what does that process look like? And I want to kind of dive in a little bit more to like the process, like breaking down the process of what it looks like to be able to lose weight and lose body fat, and like how you actually do that. Like, what is the process of doing that? So let's jump in. So what I have here, obviously, well, it's not that obvious, I'm not that good of a drawer, but is a scale, right? It's a balance, okay? So on this side, you have calories in. So a lot of people talk about, including myself, calories in, calories out, right? So in order to lose weight, it's the balance of calories in versus calories out. If you want to lose weight, right, it's you gotta create, basically you gotta be calorie negative, right? So you want to be using more energy, you want to be putting out more energy than you're putting in. So the calories in part is pretty simple. It's what you eat. That's it. I mean, it's just what you eat. That's it. So, which is why nutrition is so essential for weight loss and fat loss. On this side, you've got energy out. Now, with energy out, there's a lot of different things that go into energy out. So, BMR, so your basal metabolic rate, that is basically the energy that your body needs to stay alive, right? That is basically to do all of your basic functions, to run your organs, to run your brain, to basically keep the lights on, right? So that's your BMR. But the reality is that, you know, people talk about exercise and things all the time. That's great. But BMR is actually going to be like 60% of your overall total expenditure of calories for your body, right? So then you got NEAT. Basically, this is like non-exercise activity. Okay, so the little things that you do throughout the day, moving your hands around, walking down the street, going and getting the mail, any little movement that you have, that is non-exercise activity. That right there, you're probably gonna be burning like 20% of your overall calories doing that kind of movement, right? Just the nonchalant whatevers, right? Your EA, which is your exercise activity. So your exercise activity is obviously the work that you're putting in for your exercise, whether that be cardio or weight training or aerobics or biking or whatever that is. That's your exercise activity. And generally speaking, that's going to be probably about 10% of your total calorie expenditure. Then your TEF, right, which is your thermic effect of food. So this one is fairly manipulatable, right? And so this is the calories that you are spending, that you are burning by just eating and breaking down food, right? So your body has to go through a metabolic process to break down food. Now, whether that be carbohydrate or fat or protein, it has to go through some metabolic process to break down the molecules and disperse them as your body needs. However, this is where you can kind of manipulate it, right? So you basically get a 30% increase in your TEF from eating to food sources. Any guesses? Any guesses? Protein and fiber, right? So anytime that you do a higher protein and a higher fiber diet, you are going to be burning more calories than if you were eating carbohydrates or fats, right? So you get about a 2 to 4% increase if you're eating fats, maybe like a 6 to 8% increase if you're eating carbohydrates, But your fiber and your protein will give you about a 30% increase on your thermic effect of food. So people that are dieting, start eating more vegetables, you start eating more fruits, you start eating more whole grains, you're getting more fiber, right? So when you think about starting a diet or dieting, typically most diets, health food like eating clean, for example, right? Hey, I'm gonna start eating clean. Eating clean is, almost a diet in and of itself, but the reason why people are so successful with eating clean is not because necessarily like they're eating just so much better. It's really because they're eating typically higher fiber for one and higher protein. So they're getting more output just by eating those types of foods. And so that scale, right, when you start doing these things, right, and adding more exercise, maybe being more active, that's why I push activity in and of itself, is because that non-exercise activity is a big part of your energy expenditure. So let's just say that you're not losing any weight at all currently, right? You are currently eating at your maintenance level of calories. Okay, so let's just say it's 2,000 calories. You're eating 2,000 calories a day, and you are not losing weight. That is your maintenance level. Okay, when you start dropping your calories, right, and your calories in decrease, and let's say everything else stays the same from 2,000 calories, let's say you drop 200 calories a day and you go to 1,800 calories per day, right? This scale is going to end up dropping a little bit this way because you are now in a deficit of calories by 200 calories. When most people start thinking about getting healthy, it's double-sided, right? So you start decreasing your calorie intake and then you start exercising, right? Which is going to end up taking this scale and doing something more along these lines. Oh, that marker doesn't work. There's another one. And doing something along these lines, where that balance, right, is now outweighed because you're now using more energy than you're taking in. And so your body takes that fat off of your body and it starts taking energy from your body to use for energy. So that is how you basically lose fat, is just by upping your energy expenditure and decreasing your calories. Okay, but these are the things that you need to focus on, right? These are the things that are manipulatable. The BMR, your basal metabolic rate, your body function, you can't really do anything about that. It just basically is what it is. Your daily activity, that is something you have total control over. How much are you going to move today? Are you going to park farther away in the parking lot? Like, are you going to do your 10-minute walks? Right? Exercise activity, you have direct control, right? How much are you going to put in? Are you going to crush it? Are you going to add an extra hour of cardio? Are you going to do your weights? Are you going to do double up on things? Right? You have direct control. What you eat, right? Your thermic effect of food. Are you going to be eating high protein? That's why I push high protein. One of the reasons why I push high protein is because on a high protein diet, you're going to be burning more calories just eating alone. Are you going to be doing those things? So, if, for example, right, you are currently gaining weight, right? This scale is going to be obviously tipped the other direction. And so now, right, you're going to be taking in more calories than you're using. So, let's say your maintenance level is 2,000 calories and you're eating 2,400 calories, right? Now, that scale is tipped the opposite direction and you're going to be gaining slowly, you're going to be gaining weight. most likely, depending on what type of exercise you're doing, or if you're not exercising at all, it's mostly going to be fat. Okay? So that is kind of the energy balance, right? How it all works. Now, let's say you have been dieting, and you started eating more protein, you started eating more fiber, and because of that, you've lost weight. Congratulations, right? Good job. But now, right, your BMR is not necessarily going to stay the same, nor is your maintenance level of calories, right? As you lose body mass, whether that be fat or muscle or whatever it is, your BMR is going to change, because a resting muscle or resting fat still takes calories to maintain for your body. So let's say you lose 20 pounds of fat, you're now losing calorie burn off of your BMR, just maintaining it, since you no longer have that mass to basically control or feed with calories, right? So let's say, you started at 200 pounds and now you are 170 pounds. And now 2,000 calories, and let's say you were eating 1,700 calories and you were losing weight, right? But now you stop losing weight, because 1,700 calories may now be your maintenance level of calories, right? So what do you do? Like, what do you do? Okay, what I was doing is no longer working for me. And so, again, you can take this one of two ways, right? You can do the same exact thing that you've been doing, right? And drop your calories, and that scale will tilt back, right? It will tilt back to a calorie deficit. Because if you're not losing and you're maintaining at 1,700 calories, right? You're basically back to that balance. You're back to here, right? 1,700 calories, you were in a deficit, right? But now you got 1,700 calories and you're back to even. You're back to square. So now what, right? So you can either take this one of two ways. You can drop your calories, right? Maybe go 1,500 calories, and you're burning 1,700 calories, so now you are creating a deficit once again. If, right, you decide to go the other direction, and you're like, okay, well, I've been working out for an hour a day. I don't have time to work out for 2 hours a day, so it has to be my calories. The reality is that that's not rational for most people. That's not doable, right? Not everybody has just hour and a half, 2 hours a day to spend in the gym. So you can drop your calories or exercise more. That's really the only two things that you can do. Or, work on your NEAT and take walks throughout the day, things like that. But this is kind of where I want to hit a point, and I want you guys to understand. Most people, when they start thinking about getting healthy, they start thinking about losing weight. What do? Right? They go, most of the time, they go all in. And they start dropping right off the bat their calories super low, right? And then they start exercising, right? So that is a really strong tilt of your energy balance, right? So maybe it's down here, right? And you start your diet, and all of a sudden you start dropping weight like crazy. Well, eventually, let's say you're doing, you're doing your weight training and you're doing your cardio, and you're at the gym, you're spending tons of time thinking about your food and the gym, and you're putting in lots of cardio every day and weight training every day. If you don't burn out in the first couple of weeks, right, and let's just say everything is perfect, then you lose a bunch of weight, right? At some point, this is going to come back to a balance. It's going to come back to level again. So then what, right? So then what do? You've already spent an hour and a half, 2 hours at the gym a day. You're already in a huge caloric deficit. Now what? Like, you can spend 3 hours at the gym? Are you going to decrease your calories down to 500 calories and, you know, give yourself metabolic damage if you continue at that pace? What do? So what most people need to understand is that you need to have balance, right? It needs to, you can't go all in 100% right off the bat. Certainly you can increase from what you're currently doing, right? You can, you know, do more than what you're currently doing. But let's say you're doing nothing. You're not watching what you're eating. You're not exercising. You basically sit on the couch all day long. What you need to understand is that just simply being more active, let's just say that on average you eat 2,000 calories a day, right? But you sit on the couch all day long. For work, you sit at a desk all day long. Guys, if you just increase, just only, not even change what you eat, but just increase what you're doing here. Let's say you go for a 20-minute walk every day, right? But you don't even think about what you're eating. You just keep eating normal. You're still gonna sway this scale, but it will be at a maintainable balance, maintenance, right? A maintainable level of calorie deficiency, right? So that you can, right, increase from there without killing yourself, right? So let's say you go for a 20-minute walk 5 days a week after you did nothing, right? And you lose 10 pounds in the first month. Awesome. Second month, you don't lose any weight. Okay? Now what do? You up your walks to 25 minutes or 30 minutes, and you start burning a little more calories. But 25 minutes or 30 minutes is doable for most people, right? And at that point, a 20-minute walk is not going to give you the same result as if, you know, you just barely started, you just barely got off the couch for the first time. Your body adapts. Your body is really good, right, at making metabolic adaptations. That's what getting in shape is all about, right? Okay, I used to not be able to do this, but now I can. Why? It's because your body gets used to it, and it starts being more efficient doing the things that you couldn't do before, but now you can do them fairly easily, right? So you burn less calories doing the same thing over time. Okay, so what we want is to have a calorie balance that is maintainable, right? That's really the key to long-term success with fat loss. Okay, so if you start dieting and you lose 10 pounds, but what you were doing before is no longer working, well, now you know what to do. Either eat less or work out more, right? So it's actually pretty simple, but there are certain things that, you know, you can do to try to manipulate that even further, right? Like eating higher protein, higher fiber, and getting those kinds of nutrients that alone are going to, you know, up your expenditure. Guys, it's really important that you are creating a maintainable calorie or energy deficiency if you are trying to lose weight, right? Don't go all in, all out, all at once. You won't be able to sustain it, and if you can sustain it, you are going to plateau most of the time before you get to where you actually want to be. And then it's a whole nother story. Then you gotta start thinking about, okay, how do I bring this back up and bring this down and not put on a bunch of weight, right? So don't do that. Just keep it somewhere where you can maintain it, okay? Don't go all in, all out, all at once, or else it will not be maintainable, right? And if you do, back out of it slowly, right? Back out of the all in, all out mentality slowly, so that you're just not all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, I've been so calorie deficient for so long, now I'm just going to binge eat everything. And then this shoots way up and this goes down because you don't want to work out anymore, right? And then that's the yo-yo. That's the yo-yo effect right there. Okay, so that's what yo-yo dieting is. Anyway, guys, keep up the good work. If you have any questions or anything like that, just comment, tag me in it, and then I will get back to you. Okay, but I hope you like this video, and hope you guys kind of more fully understand and have a vision of how to lose weight, what fat loss is, and how to control it.